But for one thing, they, the Israelis, cannot be said to have a historic right to a piece of territory because some of their ancestors supposedly inhabited it 2,000 years ago. For another, they ought to recognize that they have done a considerable wrong to another people in depriving them of rights at least as great as their own. The bitterness felt by the people to whom this wrong was done still persists, and as long as it does, the rights of the Israelis will remain purely hypothetical. They can only hope that the Arabs will one day recognize and accept them. Only then will the rights become real. The Arabs too have rights. In many respects, they may justifiably be held to be greater than Israelis. The Arabs of Palestine have the same rights over Palestine territory as the French exercise in France and the English in England. These rights have been violated without any provocation on their part. The wrong done to the Arabs by the Israelis is very real. The Jews say anti-Semites. Moses is an anti-Semite. Believe me, Moses says, you behold a stiff-necked people. So you Jews, you have been rebellious against the Lord since the day I knew you. Read Isaiah, read Amos. Yeah, Jewish prophets, what they have to say about you? Are they all anti-Semites? They hate you, or they hate themselves? What have you done? My dear brothers and sisters, there is a chance. There is a growing number of people among the Jews who realize this. As Brother Paul Finley has pointed out, Israel Saak, people like him. There are others, like Danny bin Tal, like Henry Casio. There are people among the Jews who are crying about the injustice, that you are worse than the Nazis. You're doing things that what the Nazis didn't do to you, you are doing to these poor Palestinians. And this is, as soon as the world is realizing, everybody is not asleep. They're knowing what's going on now. Day by day, more and more things are coming in the news. Daily, they're killing little children. Little children are being killed daily. This is the fate in the Times Magazine, the weekly news magazine, international. We read there, the Palestinian question. I end with this. So what manner of man would retaliate against a stone-throwing child by shooting him in the back as he ran away? What kind of people are these who would shoot a stone-throwing child by shooting him in the back as he ran away? What manner of government would retaliate by fining already poverty-stricken parents $1,000, demolishing their home and confiscating their meager possessions? What manner of people are these arrogant settlers who think they have a God-given right to commit such atrocities and still cry for more? What manner of people are we that we permit our government to give away billions of the American taxpayers' dollars to Israel every year, enabling it to continue to subjugate the Palestinian people? What manner of people are we, the Americans? This man is an American, Alice F. Smith from Santa Barbara, California, in the Times Magazine, February 20th, 1989. There are people who are waking up to the situation, and this will create either you change or destined for destruction. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Brother Ahmed Deedat, we wish to say thank you very much to you indeed for a very well delivered talk. I personally believe that you have done justice under the circumstances and in the time available for treating the topic that was chosen. I also wish to say at this point in time, thank you to Mr. Marie and his helpers for having tried their best to solve the problem. We come now to the close of the gathering, where you will be allowed to come to the microphone in front and put a question to either Mr. Paul Findlay or Brother Ahmed Deedat. But this part of the meeting needs to be controlled. Each person who puts a question should remember that it must be a question, not a debate, and not a lecture. And Mr. Deedat or Mr. Finley are compelled to reply. Whilst this is taking place, the questioner must be given every opportunity to state his case, and so must the speaker. We are presently having only this one microphone, so you must please bear with us. If there are people who have questions pertaining to what was discussed tonight, please make your way to the microphones now.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Ahmed from Egypt. I would like to ask, why doesn't the Jews not acknowledge of the state of Palestinian, and they know that the Palestinian is Arabia, and they know that they take all the land from the Palestinian by the force, the gun and the cannon and everything like that.
As I understand the question, it is this: why does Israel not permit the Palestinians to be represented by the leadership of the Palestine Liberation Organization? Is that your understanding of the question? It's a very searching question, a very important question. I tend to talk too long. I'll try to keep my response brief. There is no question but what the PLO, headed by Yasser Arafat, is the acknowledged leader of the Palestinians wherever they live, whether they be in the occupied territory or in South Africa. No question about it. But Israel is in a very unique political position thanks to the United States. Israel does not have to deal with its neighbors in a normal fashion. The lobby for Israel in the United States has become so effective, so efficient in influencing the behavior of the U.S. government that Israel has been able to count on American support for its policies wherever they turn. That means that Israel, because of the influence of Israel's lobby in the United States, is able to behave in an unprecedented manner in dealing with the Palestinian leadership. In every other political situation of this sort, one party has been able to select its own leadership, and the other party has been able to select its own leadership. But thanks to the power of Israel's lobby in the United States and the support that our government gives to the leadership of Israel, Israel is able to take this unprecedented position of demanding the right to select the leadership of the Palestinian movement itself. That's the root of the problem. Now, were it not for the extraordinary power of Israel's lobby in the United States, the government of Israel would be forced to come to terms in a normal fashion with its neighbors, including the Palestinians in the occupied territory. But as long as Israel can depend upon the uncritical, undivided, powerful financial, military, economic, and moral support of the United States, it does not have to behave in a normal fashion. That's the answer to your question, wherever the questioner is. And I believe there is something that gentleman can do to make a change. At the risk of being self-serving here tonight, Mr. Deedat, I would urge that gentleman to get a copy of my book out in the lobby before he leaves. My book is entitled "They Dare to Speak Out." It tells exactly how Israel's lobby has been able to attain this enormous control over the policies of the U.S. government. And if that gentleman would get a copy of that book and read it, and then mail it to someone he knows in the United States, he will help to bring understanding among the people of the United States about how U.S. policy in the Middle East is made. Because despite our enormous potential for communication, despite our books, despite our magazines, our newspapers, the American people simply are in ignorance about how U.S. policy is made. They really don't know about the power of Israel's lobby, and each of you here tonight can help to awaken their interest in this subject, to provide them information, to give them inspiration to help break this enormous grip that Israel's lobby has on the U.S. government.